logging in this evening. Make sure you drop it in the chat as you're logging in this evening. Make sure you drop it in the chat. Let me know where you're calling in from, this evening. And once again, my name is Tasha M. Dyer, and I am the creator of the BYOB Cashout. And I'm so excited to have each and every last one of you all here with us this evening. Now, what are we talking about? Now, first of all, I want to make sure that each and every last one of you are in the right mindset, right? So let's talk about what your mindset is. I am a master trader. I am a master trader. All my trades in profit, right? I'm a master trader. I am the signal. All my trades in profit. I am a master trader. I am the signal. All my trades in profit. So I want to make sure that each and every last one of you all always walk in that affirmation. I want to make sure that each and every last one of you all always are walking in that, right? So now, if this is your first time with us this evening, let me get a 111 in the chat. Your first time on BYOB Market Talks, let me get a 111 in the chat. And if you are still learning how to cash out, let me get that 222. You're still learning how to cash out, let me get a 222 in the chat. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome, welcome, and welcome back. Welcome and welcome back. Now, we have definitely been talking about, for everybody that's on here, this is Market Talks, this is a training call. So what we've been talking about is we've been talking about the value of the tool, the value of the Vibrata, right? Helping you understand the significance of this tool and what it brings. Now, I'm gonna start this call out with helping you understand that. Now, I started a playlist. And if you're not already subscribed to the BYOB challenge on YouTube, you definitely want to go ahead and get subscribed to that, okay? You definitely want to make sure you go get subscribed to that YouTube channel. And now, why do you want to do that? You want to do that because we have been looking at the Vibrata, and we have been looking at that from looking at the alerts that come from there. Now, I'm gonna play this real quick because I want you to understand the significance of this tool. I want you to understand the significance of you having this tool. I want you to understand the power behind this tool. So I know you've heard Mr. Rogers on this call before. You've heard him in the Telegram chat, or you've heard his voice, but I really want you to understand the power behind this tool and what it means. So I'm gonna just go ahead and play this video for you really quickly as we begin and dive into tonight's training.
Wow, folks, I'm just absolutely amazed to know that I'm a part of an organization looking to empower and impact lives across the globe. I've been in this space for over 20 years, commercial banking, lending, and when I look at the web analyzer in comparison to what the big banks of the world utilize, that web analyzer is equivalent, far exceeds the expectation that I was anticipating after having that experience on the investment market. So folks, for those of you who don't understand the magnitude of what you have your hands on, I encourage you, I challenge you to take a deeper dive and realize that literally you have in your own hands the power to become your own bank and allow us to be your partner, to empower you economically, financially, and leave a true legacy.
So I played that because I know so many of you all have logged onto the Vibrata, but you probably skipped right over that video, right? You might not log onto it, you might not let it play, but I want you to understand the significance behind the tool that you have access to. I really do. And now for those of you all who came in and you dropped the 111, okay, you came in and you dropped that 111, let's talk about what the BYOB Cashout. Now, I have some things marked up, and I'm so glad I do because it's storming outside of my house right now. And you can kind of see what happened with my alerts, right? They kind of went away. So I do have some things marked up, and because tonight we're talking about the 15-minute chart. So the beauty behind it is I've already marked it up for you, so you can already see what we're going to talk about, what we're going to look at. So the only thing is, you know, you just cannot, you know, you just cannot look at it. You don't get to see what I saw earlier. So you're gonna, you know, we're gonna trust through the process. How you doing? How you doing? So you're just gonna have to trust us through the whole entire process. So now when you're looking on here, okay, when you're looking at this, I'm looking at this. This is the BYOB Cashout, and it uses 3 indicators. That's it. It uses 3 indicators. I'm looking at the stochastic. I'm looking at the stochastic. I'm looking at my Hikinashi candles. Understand that these are candles. These are indicators, okay? Underneath this is my Japanese candles. So when you look at your phone, this is what you see on your phone. This is what you see on your MetaTrader 4, okay? They are going to look different. I want to make that clear. These are Hikinashi candles, which are an indicator, okay? So I'm using 3 indicators. And then this is a PSAR. This PSAR shows a reversal. Okay, this is what you call a reversal. So it's a trailing stop loss. Okay, it's a trailing stop loss. It acts as a resistance line. It acts as a support line. So let's talk about it. So stop losses always go above or below. We always use it. This is what we do. So now what I need for you to understand is this is a leading indicator. This is a lagging indicator. This is a leading indicator. These 2 are lagging, which means that you look at this first. Now, we're looking at the 15-minute chart to begin our setup. The higher time frames tell me what I'm doing. My higher time frames tell me what the market's doing. That will make sense to you in a minute when we begin pulling from here. Now, I'm saying from here because it's dark, right? I mean, literally when the storm broke, the alerts went away, okay? So, but when you pull up your Vibrata, you actually have those trade ideas, those entry triggers that come with the Vibrata. So if you're looking on your Vibrata, you should see some indicators. You should see some that are there, okay? And I want you to understand that you should actually see some that are there. And if not, if not, so I just kind of want you to know what you're looking at. So just, you've seen them before. If you put up the Vibrata, you've been on a training call with me. So I just kind of want you to kind of pay attention to what we're talking about tonight. So now, what this is first and foremost, the stochastic, okay? When I'm looking at the stochastic, I need this blue line to cross over the red, okay? Understand that, or over the red. Understand that this runs from 0 to 100. I gotta understand the strategy first and foremost, and then we will move toward, like understanding how this applies and how you can apply within the Vibrata, right? So 0 to 100. Understand that this moves from 20 to 80 in the shaded area. Now, the stochastic goes from around this 80. You see that blue line crosses over the red in a downward momentum. Now, what I want you to understand is when you're looking at this right here, okay, I'm looking at this. Now you see this is happening around this 80, okay? You see this is kind of happening around this 80. You see what you see is you see that blue line cross over the red, but it's not in a downward momentum anymore. So that crossover and that downward momentum is important. This crossover and this upward momentum around that 20 is important, okay? That's gonna help you with the direction and the momentum of the trade, okay? Now, that crossover is important. So blue line cross over the red in a downward momentum. So this lets me know that I am looking for a sell setup, okay? I'm looking for a sell setup. Now, once I know I'm looking for a sell setup, I begin looking for things that align with a sell, okay? I'm looking for things that align with the sale. What aligns with the sale? A red candle, okay? A red candle with a flat top, okay? So this is where my setup began. I see a red candle with a flat top. Now, that is a red candle with a flat top, but I still didn't get a PSAR flip. That PSAR must go along with it, okay? And yes, each one of these candles is 15 minutes. So yes, this trade, some trades it hits immediately. Some of them it plays out for a while. This one played out for a while. And I want you to stay focused, because focused is, this might have taken me an hour or so, 2 hours, you know, however long it takes, it's okay. Because we do 401k, we wait to cash out for 40 years. You can wait 2 hours. I want you to focus and think about the big picture and what's important here. So here we go. When we actually now we got a PSAR flip, but I don't have a red candle with a flat top. So when we have everything that lined up, this is actually where we were. And this is where I'm putting this arrow for you, right? So you can know where everything is lined up. Now you notice my stochastic is moving. That is okay. That is what's supposed to happen. It is momentum. So don't get caught up where, oh, my stochastic is still is no longer at the top. Your stochastic is not supposed to still be at the top. Your stochastic is supposed to be moving, okay? So I want you to understand that. So yes, all of this is supposed to still be happening. Now, with that being said, you now have your BYOB cash out setup, okay? You have that setup. Same thing in the other direction of a buy, right? Same thing that if I was looking at this from a buy, you notice that if I wanted to look at it from this perspective, I got my blue line that cross over the red and the upward momentum. You notice how quickly this one aligned, right? The buy setup aligned very quickly. Now, what I want to do is I want to add time frame confluence. Why do I want to add time frame confluence? I want to add time frame confluence because my higher time frame is what tells me what the market is doing, not the 15-minute. My 15-minute, I don't know what the market is doing. I just know I have a good setup to grab 10 pips and cash out real quick. That's what I do know. So I can cash out really quickly. So, but my higher time frame I need, that's what's going to tell me what the market's doing. Understanding my market structure, understanding what the market's doing. So before I go to my higher time frame, I'm going to check my 5-minute. I check my 5-minute because my 5-minute will tell me, has the market shifted? You know, is the market going in a correction? You really don't want to enter in a correction. If you want to enter in a correction and deal with that pullback, then that's on you. But I'm telling you, I don't want to enter the market in a correction. Knowing when I drop down to the 5-minute, that tells me that, guess what? I'm not entering the market in a correction. So my 5-minute should still be buying, or in this case, selling. In this case, it should still be buying. In this case, it should still be selling. Now, when I go to the hour, I am looking for my current swing of the market. My current swing of the market. If my swing of the market in this case is a sell, my swing of the market in this case is a buy, then of course I can get my 10 pips and cash out. Now, I'm looking at the candles. I get a lot of questions about the stochastic and other setups and other things that go along with it. Of course, if I got a stochastic with the blue line cross over the red, of course it's a better setup. Of course, if you got the momentum of the PSAR, of course, if you have that, you have a better setup. But I'm looking for the current swing of the market where I'm focused is on what the candles are doing. Because remember, it's feeding into 5-minute candle feeds into the 15, which feeds into the 30, which feeds into the hour, which feeds into the 4-hour, right? They feed into it. So when you understand that, this means that this needs to look like something I will put on my watch list. So it's not necessarily set up yet. It's not necessarily ready yet. It's not necessarily there yet. It just needs to look like something I would actually put on my watch list. And if it's something I would put on my watch list, then it's definitely something that would give me my 10 pips. So that's where you stop if you are a 111 or a 222. Get your 10 pips, cash out, develop your skill set. Now, if you would have dropped a quote unquote 333 or an advanced 222, then now you're looking at the 4-hour chart, because you want to also understand the trend of the market. So if you are trying to trade from, now this one, it has too much, it has way too much consolidation, way too much going on. So I wouldn't even suggest that you actually go for more than that. But if just in general, right? Just in general, you, as far as what you're looking for. Now, before I go any further, do I have any questions, comments, or anything before we look into the until we look into the Vibrata? So it would be the one that's on there. It would be, so you're looking at, that's why I put the arrow there, because honestly, when you looked at it, so for example, when you're doing your analysis, you would literally be looking at the last candle. You know, you would be looking at where you are in real time. So I'll put the arrow there because we're going back and looking at analysis. So if we were actually analyzing this in real time, we would be here. You know, we would be looking at this and all of this would be dark. So we honestly wouldn't know what played out. We would be looking at it from here, or we would be looking at it from here. So it honestly would look like this, right? And so that's why I flipped. You know, that's why I flipped. And that's why I put the arrow there. So when you flipped, you would actually be here. So you really wouldn't be adding an arrow to yours. So, but yeah, so you would be looking at the last candle. So the candle, that's what the arrow. So you would be looking at this candle. And so I put that arrow as a downward candle for a sale, to kind of, when we flip, to kind of remind you that you're looking for a sale. And I put this one here to kind of remind you, hey, we're looking for a buy, right? That's what we're looking for. Oh, you're welcome. Okay, so now what I want to show you tonight, okay, and you guys kind of bear with me a little, as I stated, you know, if you look, I can't pull these back up, but now when you look at this, when these pull up, right, we do have these alerts, right? We do have these alerts, and what these alerts do is they're not, what I want you to understand, when these come in, they're not signals. They have to be analyzed, okay? They're what you call, they are what you call entry triggers. So what the Vibrata does is it scans the market. And when it scans the market, it gives you high probability trade ideas. And it gives you those entry triggers. You then must take those trades, right? You then must take those trades and take the strategy that you're trading and analyze it. So and we started with the hour. So if you look back, we did about 2 or 3 trainings where we looked at the hour and the 4-hour time frame. And I did it that way on purpose because I wanted you to understand it's the higher time frames that tell you the direction of the market. It's the higher time frames that tell you where the market's going. So now when you come back and you're looking at what it's signaling you, or what the alert that it's giving you, it says potential buy, potential sell, right? That's what it tells you. It says potential buy, potential sell. It doesn't tell you you have a buy, you have a sell. It says potential, okay? And then it'll tell you, it'll give you at this call price at this time. That's what it gives you. Now, so it's not telling you go take this trade, get in the market right now. And the reason why I backed it up from the higher time frames to the 15-minute time frame is because I want you to understand that when it gives you that, you're looking at this and you're saying, you know what? I see that this called Euro, and let me go to one that's actually played out first. So you're looking at it, the US 30 played out first. How ironic is that? So you're looking at this, right? Because I got you something from everything. So actually, before I even touch the US 30, I'm gonna come to this one first. So let me change my share and come here. Okay, so this one right here, okay? So if I'm looking at this one, now this was called 3 different times, okay? This one was called 3 different times on a 15-minute time frame. And when it was called 3 different times on the 15-minute time frame, you can see that it was called for a sell, then it was called for a buy. And the reason why, like I said, I went from the higher time frames first when we did those. So if you missed those trainings, go back and watch them on YouTube. That's where they are, where it's actually pulling from the Vibrata from the higher time frames. And now, then I go back to the 15. Now, remember, what I normally get from you guys is you'll see that it'll be coming into a setup, and you'll start seeing your setup coming, and then you'll say, but wait, the Vibrata, I've clicked on a Vibrata trade and it's giving me, like for this, for example, you'll say it's giving me a sale, right? It looked like it's going into a sale, but it's telling me to look for a buy. Well, remember what I just told you and explained when we went through the setup, is that you don't know if you're in a correction or if you're trading with the trend. You don't know. The beauty behind the BYOB cash out is you can trade it with the trend or you can counter trend trade. The beauty also is that with you being the signal, you get to make that decision for yourself, right? We do not give you signals. You are the signal. We don't trade for you, we trade with you. And that's so very important. I don't want to say anti-signal, because we will do US 30 if when we're on here trading in the morning together. If we see something, I will give it to you, but I'm not giving you your take profit. I'm not telling you your stop loss. I'm not giving you that because I'm not going to handicap you. We're going to walk you through the trade, help you out to where you know, okay, my stop loss is up here. My take profit is 10 pips from here. We're going to show you how to do your support and resistance lines that are going to give you your take profits. What are my support and resistance lines for? I begin with my 10 pips and cash out, help you identify support and resistance lines to help you identify where you would take profit, help you understand market structure, because that is how you generate wealth. We're not here to put a few dollars in your pocket. We're here to financially educate and empower you to where you become the signal. That is what we're talking about. 1 million families financially educated and impacted. And that's how we do that. And that's why we don't do signals. Now, from the other standpoint is what we're also doing when you look at this, okay, this one was actually caught, and that's why I say I'm glad I had already marked it up, because this was an entry trigger that was alerted for a potential, this was a potential sale. Now, as you can see, it was caught in a correction. If I go to the higher time frame, okay, if I go to the higher time frame, this is where you can say, okay, do I take this trade? Do I not take this trade? Am I ready to take this trade? Is this with the, when I check my time frame confluence? I check my time frame confluence, look where this one at, because this was called at 1500, and it was called, you can see I have it marked where the line is red. So this is the call price that it was at. So this entry trigger was alerted at this call price. So which is like 1.88, well, 1.83195 or what have you. So it was alerted at this call price. So whenever I get an alert on the 15-minute chart, okay, I then turn around and I'm going to check my higher time frame, right? I check my higher time frame. Why do I check my higher time frame? That's where my swing of the market is. Then I come check my 4 hour. All of that is in a buy. So if all of that is in a buy, then what does that tell me? That tells me, if this told me that I should be looking for a sell, it tells me that I would be actually counter trend trading. So do I want to take that alert? Yes or no? Do you apply the strategy? The Vibrata just scans the market for that entry trigger. Do you want to take that trade at that time? That's where you have to make the decision by applying the strategy. So if you, even though it said, hey, guess what? We're looking for a sell. This did sell right here initially, but then it turned up and it went for a buy. But if I'm looking at everything that was in a buy, nothing met the criteria. So even if I pull my stochastic back up here and I'm looking at everything, nothing actually met the criteria. My stochastic met the criteria for a buy, but then nothing met the criteria here for a buy until I got way up here. So as I'm looking at nothing, the fact that nothing met it, and so, but yet the alert was for a thing, so I know I'm counter trend trading. So, and then it turned around and went for a sell. So could you have technically gotten 10 pips out of this? You could have got your 10 pips out of this from a buy. So it alerted you to an entry, it alerted you to an entry trigger, but then you apply the strategy and you make the decision how you want to trade it. Now, this one turned around and alerted you for a buy as well. So this one alerted me for a buy. So my stochastic was at the top, but then now let me see here. So let me go to the top, right? Let me come here. Now, what is this telling me? I got a buy here. Okay, I have a buy. And let's just go ahead and look at this one over here. So this one is a buy and this one is a sell. Now I go to my 4 hour. When I get to my 4 hour, my trend of the market is in a buy. So my overall trend, and if I look at this, let me get rid of my stochastic for just a moment. You can see that the overall trend has been in a significant buy. Look at that. So the 4 hour being at the trend of the market, right, is exactly what it says. And what was my stochastic doing on the 4 hour? My stochastic had been buying up, and it actually got to that major resistance line, and it actually got up there. So this is how you use those alerts. This is how you use them. You apply the strategy. So when I come back down to the 15-minute chart, right, you know that you're sitting up there at that resistance, right? You know you're sitting up there. So this one actually gave you, you know, if I'm looking at, I would have to apply my support and resistance line, but what did that give you? This one actually, the hour and the 4 hour met the confluence. So if I went up, let me just draw your support and resistance line so you're not trying to imagine it, okay? And what do I always tell you? To come back to your line chart. I always tell you to come use your line chart. If you use your line chart, they're easier to see. You got a few touches here, right? You got a few touches here. You know, I could also, if I wanted to bring it down, if you know, you could do it there with those touches there, or you can actually bring it out. You can bring it here where you got the touch here. Remember, it's an art and it's not a science. You could bring it here, right? Where you kind of got those touches, where you can have those touches here, or you can have you can go with the touches that's right there, right? Go back to, so you have that little zone that's right there. So I'll come back to my Hikinashi candles, right? And when I come back to my Hikinashi candles, my hour and my 4 hour met the confluence for my swing and my trend of the market, using my support and resistance line when that got confluence, because you already know that was a correction and it kept going, because my stochastic, it flipped here, went up, it had a correction and it kept going, had it the confluence on my hour and my 4 hour, that actually gave you about 42, almost 50 pips right there. So using your Vibrata, look what that will actually give you, right? Using a Vibrata, I just got about, the alert off the Vibrata, I just got about 40 something, 50 pips, right? Just using that when that actually got confluent, right? You got, with your pip reaction time, about 50 pips right there. So, and this one, of course, you know, of course it sold down initially because it didn't match my swing in the market. Okay, my swing in the market didn't match, but then it turned around and then it bought back up. So you could have went back with that. So, you know, you could have went back because ultimately, not to clean it the daily, but my 4 hour, remember my 4 hour was still there, and I could have used my 15 again. So this one actually called twice and it called it back to back. I should have left these a different color so we don't confuse anybody. So do I have any questions on that? Because this was that call price, then it called it again right behind it. So it called it here, right? The Vibrata gave you an alert right here. And then a few hours later, because you see it went up, it pulled back down. It started pulling back down, but then it gave you another alert. And then that other alert pulled it right back up to right there. So basically it was retesting this line. So the Vibrata will call it more than once. So it was letting you know, yeah, it's going to be in a pullback, but it's coming back up. It's going to retest that line. Do I have any questions before I show you another one? You got a problem with entering as a touch? What with candle wicks? Oh, does the candle wicks count as, okay, does the candle wicks count as a touch? Yes, it does. Because you see when we change to the line, that's the close price. That's why we did that. That's where the lines are where each one closed. So yes, the candle wicks do count as a touch. And if you could rephrase that other question, that would help me out just a little bit. So if you have a problem actually entering the trade, you probably have to go back to the academy to kind of go through how you actually enter the trade. But just to kind of touch on the basics of it, you enter it as a market. What we're looking at is a market execution in your MetaTrader 4. Pull up the currency pair, enter it as a market execution, and then you set your take profit. And if you are not understanding support and resistance lines, if you're not here where you're understanding market structure to a certain extent, where market structure, as you see, I'm not just randomly setting us take profit, right? So market structure is, I'm just taking this trade to where the structure ends. And that's where my take profit is, at that support line, support and resistance line. So if we're not using this resistance line as a take profit, if you can't identify those yet, then you want to do your 10 pips and cash out while you're still learning this structure. We're not covering 5 minutes tonight. I'm not on the 5-minute chart. I'm not even talking 5 minutes tonight. I'm not even touching the 5-minute chart for scalping tonight. That's not the topic for tonight's call. Any more questions on what we covered? Oh, you're welcome. So if I go back, right, let me change my share back just to kind of show you. And you want to make sure it aligns up. So like, for example, so this was gold. So remember, we're looking at indices in gold, right? So this one I pulled on gold. And as you can see that this one just hasn't played out yet. Remember, and I pulled this on purpose because I wanted to show you that while it typically does work, the fundamentals that's in the market right now with the coronavirus, you still have to take that into account. But yet, while it went on the gold, look at what happened with the US 30, right? Because we get that question a lot. 15-minute chart, it was called on a 15-minute chart. This is the point, and now let me change this to green because this is where it was actually, and it was called for a buy. That's why I wanted to change it to green. This was called for a buy, and this is the time that it was called at. So if your Vibrata, like I said, was storming here, so if yours is still pulling it, you can go look and validate that for yourself. And you can see that this is where it was called at. So if I go use my higher time frame for my confluence, you know, where you pull it up and you can actually see, you see I use my market structure where I look left, use my market structure for my take profit where I look left. Now, of course, there's a lot of take profit for US 30. So of course you kind of wanna, you don't have to take it that high, you know, cause it's a lot for a US 30 cause this is an indice, but I just wanted to show you. And before it turned around, cause this is structure, we're doing structure and using structure, right? So this is where it actually started. This is where it started. It hit the line. It had a pullback. This is that pullback. And then it flipped back up. You notice the PSAR never flipped. It pulled back up, but this is where it alerted us, right? This is where we got that entry trigger. And when that flat bottom candle came back up and it alerted us, look how many points that is, right? Look how many points that is on the US 30. So do you see how, you know, do you see how that this can help enhance your trading by using the tool that you get on every single day? Somebody said, oh my. So look how many points this is on the US 30. And I got a, oh my. Mm-hmm. Yep, oh my is right. So, and then it turned as structure. And of course, I want you to still take into consideration, you know, I always want you to understand this is US 30 and it has fundamentals in it. And that's why I showed you the gold, right? Because it called the gold. And gold is just now, look how long it took gold to pull up, right? So, and if I look left, right? If I look left, because gold actually did hit. So if I look left and let this be green, I was about to say gold didn't, but it actually did. So if I look left, right? Because this is where, yes, time frame confluence from the 15 is the hour. If I look where this was, the entry trigger was called, okay, it called it for a buy. So it's green and this is the buy. And so this is the time that it identified it, but you know that it pulled back first. It did all of this before it did anything else. And it gave us, you know, looking at my confluence, right? Still, look at it. And when it did my 15, look at where, when it finally, right? I had to wait for my PSAR and my flat bottom candle. And when it finally did that, if I look left for my market structure, you know, I just went left for my market structure, Look what happened. It closed out the structure. It's important to understand your market structure. But I went left and I used my I looked left. And when I went left, look what happened. It closed it out. So we're not trying to push the issue. We're just using what the Vibrata gave us. You know, what the Vibrata gave us. And right here, right? We're using the tools. This is why you don't get enrolled without your tools. This is why you enroll with your tools. So that's why when we say this is what bankers use, this is equivalent to what the big banks of the world use, we're not playing. So, and so this one, of course, this one just hasn't, I mean, but it didn't meet the criteria. So you don't ever blindly take a trade. You don't ever blindly take a trade. So this one just hasn't come back around. So, and it hasn't set up. And so I'm quite sure it'll call it again when it's ready. Because I'm quite sure you've noticed when you're on here and you'll get the 15, the 15, the 15, the 15, you know, you'll get on that, you'll see the same currency called a few times. This is why. So to identify it as a trigger, and then later on, you'll see it come back up again. So you can kind of see where it's going to come down right now, or it'll turn around and say, you know what? We got an entry trigger for a sale. But you don't just come blindly take a trade and say, well, the Vibrata said it was a buy, but it's selling. Well, if you see it selling, then sell it. You know, if everything is in alignment for a sale, you know what to do. That's why you're the signal. But look at my stochastic on the 4 hour. My stochastic on the 4 hour tells me that I'm gonna be buying it sooner or later. So it's very valid. It's a valid trigger. It just hasn't played out yet. So it might sell first and then come up and buy. So it's a valid trigger. Look at my stochastic. Questions, comments, questions. Because we covered every last one of these. I got Forex, crypto. Did we do a crypto? Oh, I didn't get a chance to mark it. Did I do a crypto? Yes, I did. I marked up a crypto. Sure did. We didn't get to it. So here's a crypto. So same thing. Called it for buy, right? This should be green. So here's my crypto. Okay. This is the time it called it. So looking at my crypto, and when it marked it up, right? If I do go left, same thing, right? Looking left. I changed, right? You want to make it easy for you. You know that you want to come here, right there. You can see your touches. I see my touches. I see my touches. I see my touches. Your support and resistance line. Look at all those touches, right? All those touches for your support and resistance line. I switch back to my Hikanashi candle. And guess what? You took profit. And that would be like a take profit 1. And then if you wanted to run a take profit 2, right? Go back to my line. So anytime you want to run more than one take profit, you know, you don't just go for it, a gusto. You always add it, and you just always. What am I? This one will have to come up some, but you get what I'm saying. That one has to come up some, and then when you come over there, and you can see it hit take profit 1. By the time it came through, it hit take profit 1 because you see where it got ready, and it came up there. So it works on everything. So that is my Forex. That is my crypto. That is my indice. That is my metals. We just saw a trade play out on every single thing, and one that just hasn't played out yet. So who has actually been using the Vibrata, or who's ready to use it now? You don't see that piece right down here? Oh, but no, that's the wick. Hold on. I thought it was under that one. You say 777. We've been using the Vibrata, so then it would be over here where it's starting to come through. So that's the wick. When I looked at it, I thought the piece was right here. So you're right. So then it would just be now starting to come through. So, so we've been using the Vibrata on here, but have you been using it with the alerts? Or now, let me not say with the ideas. Well, they're not signals, so they're alerts. You can call them alerts. You've been using the alerts that come through the Vibrata? But I just showed you they're not ready when they come. You got to set them up. They're not ready when they come. Oh, awesome. That's good. So it's not like they come, you got to jump in. They're not signals. They're not signals. So it's not like they're not signals. So it's not like they come through and you're like, oh my goodness, I got to get in this trade right now. They're not signals. And so I think that's been a misconception, right? So they're not signals. And I think a lot of you all have been looking at them like they're signals. And you're looking at them because I get that comment too much that, oh, they're not matching, or, oh, they're not, they're not setting up properly, or, oh, this, that, or what have you. they're not signals. They're not signals at all. And so you have to take the alerts and apply them to the strategy, because you're not going to play each and every last one of them out. You're not. It's just not. Just like this one is not going to go all the way up here. This is not going to happen. So, I mean, I probably right here looking at this one, once it tapped up here, I'm probably looking at that to pull back now. So, you know, because it tapped up there, and now I'm probably looking at that, because if I go here to look, I probably wouldn't even be in the trade at this point, like once we realize that wasn't that PSAR. So, because if I'm looking at my time frame confluence on this end of it, from where we are from here, so if I'm having to look at this, they call for a buy, but if I'm having to look at it from here and I do my confluence, that's in a sell. So I'm not in this trade right now. So just because I get the alert, you know, just because I get the alert doesn't mean I'm jumping in a trade at that moment. You have to do the analysis, and sometimes they take a while to play out. And some of them you're going to pass up, and some of them you're going to take. It's an entry trigger, but then at that entry trigger, you have to go analyze and you determine if you take that trade or not. But it's great opportunity and great potential. What do you mean the layout is a bit different? And that this is the PSAR. There's a PSAR that's associated with each candle. It's 3 indicators. It's the same 3 indicators. So I don't know what features. But these are the indicators. These are the indicators that when I created the strategy, these are the indicators that I use. So these are the indicators that I had Stephen Hooley upload in there. So these are the indicators that I use. And no, this doesn't save them. It doesn't save the charts. Can you save the charts without being logged in all the time? No, it does not save the charts. So we got about 5 minutes. Any heard, is that a question or a comment or? Got about 5 minutes. So we got about 5 minutes for questions or comments. None. You don't avoid any pairs due to Corona. The market moves now. It's actually a good question. So did you hear that you should avoid some pairs? So you shouldn't avoid anything. You should analyze it all properly. So Italy was thumping stuff. No, no. So you'll hear a lot of different things, and this is what I want everybody to understand. So that's a good talking point. We don't move the market. That's first and foremost. We don't move the market. The market, we ride the wave of the market, and that's the first thing that's always important to remember. So the people who move the market, they're concerned about their bottom line. You know, they're always going to be concerned about their bottom line. So, you know, if you have a business to run, you're going to be concerned about your bottom line. You're not going to be concerned about my bottom line. We don't have enough liquidity in the market. Your trade account is not significant enough for them to be concerned about. And I'm not saying that from a point of, you know, we just don't have enough in the market for them to be concerned about our bottom line. So they are business owners, and this is impacting them from a business standpoint. They're from an economic standpoint, from a government standpoint. I mean, just from all the way around. So they have to do what they have to do from that, from looking at it from their bottom line, and they're gonna do what they need to do to take care of business, and that's the bottom line. And so, you know, if you really, really, really just sit back and ride the wave, and, you know, so it's all about understanding the technical aspect of it, which is like, for example, I just explained what the BYOB Cashout was. So you have to understand that. Then you have to understand the fundamentals. And the fundamentals are the coronavirus is impacting the market. That's the fundamentals, right? Period. Just like when we looked at gold didn't do what the indicator said it did what it wanted to do, right? So because, and what that means is when we did not see everything lining up, we don't take the trade. We don't force a trade. We sit back with patience and we analyze properly, and we don't take the trade. Now, and then on top of that, you have the sentiment. How do they feel about it? Well, they don't want to go out of business. You know, they're going to do what they have to do. Like the Fed just cut rates down to zero, right? They're buying back different things. They're doing so many different things to try to fix the economy or do this with the market, you know, but they're not worried about you making $50 or $3,000 or whatever it was that you made today. That's not their concern. Is the overall big picture of the economy. So I'm saying all that to say, ride the wave of the market. Don't focus on what, you know, understand what they're doing and why they're doing it. Don't focus on anything as far as the negativities behind it. Focus on what you're here to do and what you're here to accomplish. And when you focus on that and walk in those affirmations, that's why we start this call with affirmations. And you focus on that and focus on making sure that you understand the skill set, then guess what? That's why so many 777s in the chat. Because we're not worried about somebody out to get us. We're concerned with, I'm a master trader. I am the signal, and all my trades end in profit. And that's why we're sitting at 92% and higher. And that's why so many people are cashing out and so many people are winning. Because what you're focused on is what you're going to accomplish. What you focus on is what you're going to achieve. That's where we are. And the best time to trade is when you're up and in the market and when the trades align. That's the best time to trade. Is when you have the right mindset and you're up and you are looking at the market and the trades align. That's the best time to trade. Because it's 24 hours, 5 days a week, and the strategy works. So whether you're a scalper, whether you're a swing trader, or intraday, whatever your style is, it works. So that's the best time for you to trade. So, you're welcome. You're so very welcome. So, you are so very welcome. So, one last question, comment before we go. You guys are welcome. So, hopefully this helped. Mindset is everything. So hopefully this did help you all this evening. We definitely can touch on this. Oh, Mr. Rogers, go right ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. Ladies and gentlemen, excuse me. excuse me. I just had to jump in here real quick. Folks, I'm excited for you, especially for those of you who are new to being able to hear from the trade whisperer herself, Ms. Tasha M. Dyer, the creator of the BYOB Cashout strategy. Now, for many of you on this call, I just need to really understand and see if you really appreciate the value that you received tonight. So on behalf of the BYOB family movement, if you're excited about your next level, your next dimension of your personal trading and seeing your personal account grow in a manner exponentially, I need you to drop an 888 in the chat if you're excited about being able to experience this information tonight. because we're excited, ladies and gentlemen, and I love her response. When is the best time to trade? The best time to trade is when you get an entry trigger alert and it aligns with the strategy based on the time frame that you're using. And if you're escalating it, you're going to make sure it's congruent with the time frame confluence. So that is an appropriate answer. The best time to trade is when all the rules are in alignment, and whatever currency pair, whatever indice, whatever market you're taking advantage of, that's the best time to trade. However, there are some times that you may see a lot more movement, but it's always the best time to trade is when all three rules are in alignment, your time confluence is congruent, and then that puts you in the best position to profit. So if you're excited about that understanding, I need you to also, once again, drop an 888 in the chat. Fantastic. Folks, we're on a crusade. We are really liberating families. We're impacting individuals because it's all about the education. So no matter what the economy is doing, when you have the right understanding, no matter what the market is doing, you and I can assess the information, execute, and most importantly now be able to disseminate this information with the people in our sphere of influence. So as we begin to transition tonight, I want you to think about those 5 families that you know would be a benefactor of this information. And it's not about getting them to do anything. It's simply about you thinking about with a compassionate heart based on what's happening because they're not privy to this information or they're not having the proper understanding. Think about those 5 families that you know would benefit from a setting and an environment like tonight. Now, if you think about those 5 families that you care about the most and not being concerned about how they're going to respond to the information, whether they have the proper investment, just the mere fact of the value of the information. I want you to think about those 5 families that you can have tremendous influence and impact over right now. How you can bring them hope right now, because many of them are maybe displaced. They're probably concerned how the next 30 days is going to turn out in their lives. But think about it, because you're in an environment and a setting like that. I want you to think about, grab those 5 people, those 5 families right now. And if you have gripped those 5 families and you know that they would be a benefactor and benefit from this amazing information that you received tonight, and if you're willing to over the next 12 hours to make sure that they get in front of this information, I need you to put a 333 in the chat. If you, those 5 families that you know you can now change their life, I want you to commit to ensuring over the next 24 hours, you invite them out. You add them to that Telegram group. You invite them to our 5 a.m. and our 9 a.m. Just the mere fact that they simply need to have this information. We're talking about 5 families. Ladies and gentlemen, with the amount of energy that's on this call tonight, this is nothing about self-gain or self-adoration. This is simply about you being a free will hearted person. Freely as we receive, freely we ought to give. And you receive some amazing information that literally can bring a calm and a peace to the 5 families that you're connected to. So I want you to just think about this information as we now transition to a talk with the finance doctor. So I'm going to turn this call over to a gentleman that I have the utmost respect for. This individual